Let's get going a bit early today. We're going to be doing some studio work today. Organizing the stream a bit more. Hopefully the audio is now working fine. I think the laptop's working great. I don't know if you guys can hear the laptop in the background. It's a little bit loud, but it's kind of nice because it's on its own little podium, and its job right now is just use 3060 to do all encoding, do background simulation, do all the processing. Bought an HDMI to DisplayPort 2, supposedly HDMI 2.0 cable to try to use my Streamer X on the ultra wide, and it does not support ultra wide whatsoever. So I can upscale to like 4K and bring it over and like kind of trim it, but then the monitor itself doesn't work. It's just a downscaled 4K. So I can only capture this screen, which is the drawing tablet, if I'm going to use my current streaming setup. So it's kind of annoying. It is what it is. So my ultra wide is just here for all the code that I'm working on right now. I have to kind of like figure out a better way to kind of capture that. And maybe the answer is actually still using teleport. But you know, and maybe teleport will be fine. Maybe just running OBS, like a light version of OBS, with a different profile. Maybe using teleport might be a good idea. So I can do a little bit of both, because this is my old streaming setup that I was doing everything on. But it's, you know, it's using up my video card. It's using up the the camera, and it's using RTX voice and everything else. I wanted to get rid of that. But I think I could use just the screen for my dev screen. And we could pipe it over, probably over teleport. But I don't know if I have teleport enabled. Let me add my MX keys. Yeah, we're gonna check and see how aggressive teleport would be over the network. Might have to restart the stream real quick once this is done. Alright, I'm gonna restart the stream. I think we're good. Let me just see if this works. So I'm gonna stop the stream on both YouTube, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I enabled teleport. I'm gonna see if we can bring over the... First I'm gonna go check and make sure they're still alive. Okay, so we do actually go back live. Interesting. If I stop and start it, I wonder why it doesn't just automatically go live when we... Chatterino is up. Let me just try to do a new scene. Data screen wide. Alright, and then we'll add the teleport. I'm going to call it teleport ultra wide. And we want box ultra wide. Okay, and then we can do this. And hopefully, yeah, so now we can actually do the ultra wide or the non-ultra wide. And then one of these I'll be using teleport and the other will be using. So the only real question is how much CPU utilization is the widescreen taking from us on the GPU side. Like, are we only using encode? Or are we only using 3D? I'm not sure what teleport uses for hardware acceleration. Yeah. Because we kind of get the best of both worlds by doing it this way. I can use OBS on this computer, or I can use OBS on the other computer. And all the audio is still on that computer, all the effects, everything else that we need. And it's kind of just how we want to do it. That way we can still do this. Okay. We don't have any webcam processing. I'm gonna remove all the cameras. We can still use the, yeah, this will work fine. Cool. Okay, this I like. Okay, this is much better. Okay, so yeah, so today we're gonna be doing we're setting up our own repos for the studio. So what I've done so far is I have now all of the studio's repositories, or at least Unforgiven systems, actually uploaded. Let me turn it down a bit. I gotta find a better volume for that. But yeah, so I now have all of the repos here in Forgio, where we can actually attach our issues directly to the project. LFS is now working. I can now go in, you know, and kind of, you know, do whatever we need to do our PRs, you know, use our own wiki, you know, can't fork what we own, all the SSH keys. We can set up our branches. I don't know why it says there's no LFS file stored in this repository, because there is. Yeah. Alright, wonderful. That was right, because this stuff should be in, yeah, it's in LFS. Because if I pull it, yeah, I don't know. That's the only thing I don't really get is why the why LFS on the repo doesn't show up. I don't want to put the I do want to separate the LFS files. How's it going, Fixius? Welcome to you know, day whatever it is of yeah, I don't think the LFS is being recognized by Forgio, but it does exist in the repo. Maybe we need a repush. Oh, yeah. Hang on. Let me, yeah. Let's go into Unforgiven systems. Maybe we need a repush origin. Remote name origin, SMB name. Yeah, it should be origin main. What is my, yeah, so my get LFS. What, wait, why are we still? Invalid remote name. Get remote V. Right? We're just SMB. I don't know what this name has a change. Push all origin SMB. Okay. All right. So let's check that out real quick. So in systems, let's see, repos. There we go. All right, so now LFS is working on remote. And then for checks, that's the next comment. So that should, we should actually do a test and on a different system pull from this. And we also need to get SSH working. So I need to figure out if we're going to set up. So in my Portainer, I wish I would remember my password now. Okay, so here in our Forjo, the question becomes if we want to run, do we want to run 22 as 22 for IPv6 and IPv4? So that this is a pure, like, so SSH is running naturally. And then we could put the Forgio, we could put this on its own dedicated IP address inside the house or inside the studio. And then we can just directly, you know, Nginx proxy to it as it, so it'll become its own, like Forgio itself will become its own IP. Like it'll be just specifically for all of the repo management. Otherwise, like, I'll need to remember when we're doing our repos to put in the SSH port, which is annoying. And if we just switch it over, because I think, let me just check my stack. I think if we do it that way, this will be easier. And we have all of our repos set up correctly. So let's say, should we put it on its own network? So SSH is 22 for itself. So that external, so the in studio Git access will be on the default port, and for external we'll route with Nginx proxy manager. Because I think that'll make sense, and then we'll just stick it on. But you're right to consider isolating Forgio to its own network and handling SSH exclusively. Using like Git Studio Reading, yep, that's pretty much. You define the network. You're making our persistent storage. Should it be on its own network? I think it's a good practice. Isolation, security, clarity. Yeah, so we should just change it and then map it back. Alternative, you could just have their users. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. To automatically, yeah, users. We're not having users do this. This is not like not happening. Yeah, we could do this in mapping, and then create like a proxy host. But then we're always proxying the stream, and I think that's kind of annoying too. It's not like my right. So I'm debating what we're gonna do. Right, is repos will be repos.studio.monolithic.ca. So this will be our repos endpoint, and then we'll set up our DNS so that this won't be externally accessible, but at least internally it'll be under like repos studio.monolithic.ca, because studios are internal network for the studio. And then this will be on its own thing, and I think it'll be a lot more organized that way. And I don't think we're using anything on the network. So if we go to networks, this is our VM network for our slash 24, so we could put it on 42. So 42 could be our, yeah. because we have our US server, and we're going to use 44 for all the different US instances. They're going to be proxied through to our own kind of like NAT router. So like the idea is we'll spin up many different instances on 44, right? Different ports for different services, and I think that'll scale okay. So I think 22, we'll put it on 42 internally. And then that'll make sense because we have our DNS here. And then we'll set up the local DNS for that, and that'll be cool. So I think we'll do that now. So we'll just set up the I'll redo it. We could redo it on the stack. Just don't want it to be. Yeah, I think we'll just do a recreate real quick, or an edit. Yeah, let's put. We'll leave all these volumes. We're going to put this on our VM network. And our domain name is going to be repos.studio.monolithic.ca, even though it doesn't really matter. IP address 2.168.2. What did I say? It was my 42. And we'll leave this alone. DNS server. You could have it register its own DNS on the Pi hole. We'll leave this for now. This is fine. So repos.studio.monolithic.ca will be too many numbers. I know, but listen, fix this. We're trying to make a real studio here, okay? And then for the host name, we'll do repos. So we're going to be running on 42. So let's redeploy this, but before we do that, let's go to our mappings. So this, we're going to set this to be 22, and then we're going to redeploy. Yep. So yeah, hopefully this doesn't recreate any of the configuration stuff. So if we're good now, where we used to be here on Forjo. So this was our old dashboard. This should be now down. And if we go to 192.168, because we'll have to set the DNS, 2.42, boom, Monolithic Studios. Okay, sign in. Revere. The instance is configured to serve on Shu. Right, okay, so we'll need to change some of these settings, but let's get logged in as on our studio account. Yeah, that's sure, right? No. We might have to change this. I think I'm Revere. No? There we go. Okay, so now we're working on the new IP address. But so, because what I want to do is be able to use, instead of get at Shu, which is the old, host, we'll actually be able to put in the full, revere at, repos.studio.monolithic.ca, and then be able to kind of connect and pull down. The idea of this, the goal, is I give a contractor OpenVPN configuration file. They connect to the studio. They can then directly, through the studio's DNS, access the repos because they're on the VPN. They can then pull the project, do what work they need, commit to the project with their own account, and then while they're on the Unforgiven Space network, the Monolithic Studios network, they'll have an SMB share, which gives them access to studio resources. So the asset folder, so like all the models, projects, directory, stuff where they can directly access for Blender, and for working on art assets and things. And I think like the idea is to create a full studio pipeline, including on our side, like on the repo side, setting up the GitHub actions. We're doing DevOps and everything today, Bear. So we're actually going through on the Docker side now, redoing the ForgeO instance. So here's Unforgiven systems. This action runner is so cool. Yes, so that's kind of what we're getting into. So what we've done is in Portainer, we now have the ForgeO running on its own IP address. So we've given it a section of IPs for the specific like studio VMs. So like 42 is now going to be the dedicated one for ForgeO. So what I want all the SSH access. Like ForgeO by default will do 222 as its default, because it's assumed that whatever is running Docker might be using its own port 22. So we're moving it onto its own IP, bringing it back to 22, so that way the SSH access is. I know externally we can like Nginx proxy manager A22 to be 222 on that port by DNS name, but I want to have it internally very mirrored to how you would if you were working at studio. You know, it would be the same environment as if you're working outside the studio. So the goal of this week on the networking, on the operation side, you know, is we now have ForgeO working with LFS and all that stuff now. So we have the LFS store set up. So when I go into the repo, go into up my you know, the settings of the repo here, you know, we can see like all of our LFS stuff's now working, and in its own like LFS volume for everything. Right, like all the history and activities now working. I want to get like multiple user accounts and stuff set up so I can go back in time, at least sort of near to when I kind of restash this and put this whole thing onto you know, like onto its own repo. So you know, we could do our PRs here now. So this is now all kind of coming together, which is fantastic. So I can actually like, you know, even like all my VS Code changes and stuff are in here now. So we want to probably migrate the wiki, the code wiki here, and I want to find a way to use the ForgeO's own API. So this is the ForgeO API here, right? So this API, you know, has notifications. Like this is the so we have all of this, like all of this at our disposal for the ForgeO API. So what that means is we can create a key. We can create a JWT token for the repos, or for, you know, our main game, and which is a branch of systems. And what I want to do is make it so we can integrate some of the reporting systems into the code. So like issues, what are the issues? Well, no one's gonna post here. You know what I mean? Like unless there are other developers that are working on the project. But obviously it's just me right now. But I want to integrate into this issues system so that players that report bugs, it'll get kind of put through the system, like either through a front end, which will then kind of push them into here, so they're more they're closer to the code base for bug report, you know, bug testing, and you know they definitely don't just get stuck in ClickUp, right? So, and I want to find more ways to integrating ClickUp into the code base. So just little things I think would be cool. And then I've already created all my deployment automations in Bash scripts before for building up Godot, setting up the Docker container. We've done that here already for the you know, for the environment that's creating the production server. So we already have that running. So what we have to do is build in the actions so that when we push to main, we have a runner that will connect out to the main Docker environment, do the build, run the same like stuff I'm already doing, right? Run headless Godot, export, do the, ideally we want it to do the Linux build for the dedicated server, and maybe we can do the Linux build for a client as well, like just run a bunch of the export templates. But I'm hoping that we can actually set these up where we can see the CI/CD stuff here. So we can see like, okay, there was a push to master, under actions, we can see that it's, gone through the pipeline and then created, all of the different builds. And for the builds, like the, all of the client builds, they need to go into the API for the Delta patcher to utilize. And then for the dedicated server build, that will get spin up as a Docker container. So the goal, although it seems like it's a lot of work, the goal is we just work on the game and we push the master. When we push the master, dedicated server gets rebuilt, restarted, the clients get updated in the Delta patcher, and it should just be, really the case of, you know what I mean? Like someone logs in and it's like, oh, an update is available, and they can just re-download the new update. So this whole process of new build for the end user and new build for the server, all of that should be happening in the dev environment, at least whenever we push the master. Right, whenever there's a PR from a branch to master that we've accepted, and because I just think that just saves. We want to get rid of all of the time that you would spend, like replicating stuff and setting up permissions, and like we just you had to be able to move quick, and I don't think we're moving quick if I have to if I can't just go and undo things, redo branches, and have all of this, like the associations, because then we can kind of realistically, and I'm just talking, right? We can tag the build with the where are we? Right, we can tag the build with the last thing. Seconds. Because it's like right now, all I have to do, that's my timing for getting stuff done quick. A Mac export takes 5 minutes long. Oh, I have not. I went and bought a MacBook. I had to go buy this stupid piece of crap. You know what I mean? Like, this is a 2018, just to build the game, and like setting like the .NET stuff doesn't work. Like, so I run into like ahead of time compilation issues with like just trying to access the API, or like having the client use Newtonsoft JSON on the Mac build for some reason, at least for whatever I was building with iOS or whatever I was testing with. It was just giving me like ahead of time warnings. It just wouldn't work. Or I would like try to connect to the API and it would just lock up and crash on my phone. Like I was trying to make a little phone app with Godot using C# and it was just not working at all. And I'm sure GDScript doesn't have that problem. But I need to figure that out. And I guess, because I haven't done it yet, once you have your export template built on Mac, you could probably just build on Windows, right? Or no? Or does it all have to, or does it have to go through Xcode? Regardless. Like, thankfully, like the Mac user base, I love supporting every product, but I mean, there's probably less Mac users than. I build my Mac build on Linux. Oh, okay, cool. Right, it's yeah, right. It's a low volume of like clients, but you gotta support whomever you can. You know what I mean? I love the idea of actually having a multiplayer game that has Linux support. I know, like, if I ever get into the realm of anti-cheat and stuff like that, then that could be problematic. But yeah, I think it'd be super cool, man. I've always wanted to just be in Linux playing an online game, like, because that's usually the determining factor. Okay, so this is now in Portainer. I get distracted explaining what I'm doing. So what we want to do next is go into our pie hole. I don't know why this defaults to not using HTTPS whenever. Thank you. So let's set up. And thanks again, like when I was trying to get Nakama working, like that's what led me down the rabbit hole of actually using Portainer to do a lot of the Docker stuff, because like I'm kind of like, my brain has always been old school and just do everything manually. You know what I mean? Like IP tables, firewall rules. Like I'm so used to doing shit the way that I've done it since the Slackware days that I haven't really kind of given in to just, you know what I mean, like just doing it like with you know, the web GUI. It's usually just like, I don't know, just going in and making Docker compose files. This is so easy, right? So I started using this when you were talking about the Nakama itself and like setting this up, and I started playing around with it. That's what led me into kind of organizing myself, you know, and rethinking like half of this stuff. I think like 90% of this stuff I even switched over from Debian to Ubuntu because I was just tired of having like old packages. Sure, it's stable and it's, you know, it's very LTS-ish, but I mean, like, do I care? You know what I mean? I'm like in my 40s. Do I give a shit? You know, like, you know, it's a weird mindset. Just use what the most common thing is. You know, whatever has the most users is probably the most supported. So whatever distribution has the most users is probably the correct distribution. So it's not even favoritism anymore. You know, it's just like whatever works fast. So we were going to set up. So this needs to be studio monolithic. Bum. So I'm going to add both, just repos itself. So 42, what are we using? Yeah, it is 42. Yeah, I'm gonna get all my .NET stuff running on this too. I have like this really cool. I hate that I have so little time, but I want to get a deployment solution for all my .NET stuff that does like the auto builds and sets up the Docker environments and pulls down like whether it's like .NET 9 or .NET 8, like just super fast auto deployments for .NET. And I want to try to find a way as well to integrate that with the Nginx Proxy Manager API. Like, I just want to like spin up anything, you know, that I'm working on, and just have it be like auto forwarded, and you know. So that's just stuff that I need to learn. Yeah, so 42. And then we'll put in the whole. They should be registered with DHCP, but I'm not using Pi-hole as like a DHCP service or anything like that, and I don't have this is a very dumb DNS locally right now because I only have like the one, but my current like house network is just one server right now, doing pretty much everything. Cool, and for Windows, let me just go into PowerShell. And I'm opening repos. Really doesn't. Okay, so we're on, because we're on the domain now. This will work. So now if we do repos, and we're still on port 3000. Hello. Okay, then we're on our self-hosted. And now what we're gonna need to do is in our portainer, we might, I wonder if I want to just do it in the app.ini, or if we want to do it, yeah, let's see. Let me just see what's an environment setting. No. So it is. So let's go into the console. Okay, so we'll just wait. Oh no, we gotta use V. Oh my god, I can't escape V. How are we gonna get out of V? And we'll change this. Because we are gonna run this on SSH, or on SSL, but I want to get all the certificates set up first. Sorry for, oh hey, sorry, what's up? Sorry for interrupting your sleep. Good work you do. Interrupting your sleep on the IO game. Yeah, so let's change this to repos. Oh my god, how do you edit in V? Why isn't Nano the default editor? The port building? On the IO game, the port building. So confused. So why is it? So why is what? You develop... No, we're just using it. This is used for managing Docker environments. So Portainer is running the infrastructure for running the game server. I literally... Is there no like Nano or Pico maybe? It's probably because it's what? Is this Nope, I'm gonna learn how to use it. But no time for games. But no time for games. I don't understand. Do I have time to play games? I don't know what IO games are. I don't know. I'm working on base edit. Let's go into yeah, my game is more like a space Sea of Pirates, Sea of Thieves. Help is 3D. Yeah. That's not IO. You make an IO. Alright, so this is the multiplayer game. So this is what my game is all about. Yeah, that's exactly it. Planet Side Labs. I'm working on all the camera motion now. It's a bit over exaggerated right now, but it takes the velocity of the actual ship and it uses it for your momentum of like how the ship performs. But it's a bit jank. A lot of it's a bit jank right now, and gravity volumes are actually kind of broken, so I don't really care. I'll get them fixed. Right now I'm on a massive. I need to get this. I need to get the services that I'm using overhauled. We're just gonna go land real quick, and then I'll. And we don't need 700 versions of the game running. But anyway, that's my game. I just wanted to highlight it real quick before we get back into stuff. I literally need to grok out of the, because there's no Emacs or Nano. How bad is that? How bad is that? That's gotta be. That's gotta be a new low point in my life, I'm actually curious if we can actually add Nano as a default editor for Docker containers. I guess it depends on the Docker template, really. But you have to kind of add them. Yeah, so for each of the images, you'd have to kind of add it. So it would like pull down Nano inside the image. Which is like, not really that, I don't care that much. Because what is this? I think it's just a busy show. Gonna lurk while I work. Have a good night and have a great stream. Have a good one, Bear Like Line. Let me give you a shadow here as well. I can. Oh, that's the downside. I gotta grab my other keyboard on the streaming PC. Too kind. No, you gotta get your stuff. You gotta get. You have a whole community to build as well, right? It's a part of it. Yeah, make sure you guys are following Bear. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, man. People don't realize the sheer amount of work that you need to do. I mean, you don't have to do, but not doing it will be detrimental. You will lose time, right? Whether it's streaming, like, I could be just sitting here doing this, but not streaming, but to someone, this has some benefit. Maybe somebody is starting up a studio, maybe someone's trying to automate their deployments, or they're trying to just, I don't know, you know what I mean? They're building something similar. Who knows, right? There's a benefit to everything to a certain degree, I guess. It might not be the most entertaining stream, but I'm just here to work and make the game, Using V, a simple guide. Oh my god. What are the modes? Normal mode, edit mode, command mode, cursor mode, or, let's just go into, screw it, we're just gonna do this instead. We're just going to access it on the here. Yeah, so we want to turn this into repos.studio.monolithic.ca. Because then we'll go get our Let's Encrypt certificate for the repos subdomain, just so we can deploy it, and then we'll shut it off from the internet. So at least we'll have full SSL on the repos internally, right? I'm like totally exposing my Git secret, but you know, whatever. I'll change it later. Yep, so this should be good. Temporary uploads. Repos at studio.monolithic.ca. We're good on this. And then we have our LFS data. We don't want... Okay, so trusted model, committer, default merge. Let's go. Save this. Let's launch our Portainer. We're just going to restart it. Just restart. And then hopefully we'll be good. So if everything is great, we should just be able to restart this. Sign in. There's Revere. Okay. Save. Your credentials are mine. How's it going, Bob? Yeah, so now, welcome to DevOps with Rav. So now we should have all of the Unforgiven Systems project. All of our LFS stuff is now up. We have our issues, our pull requests. We can now, our actual code repositories should now be correct. And for the SSH access, so we need to change the shoe domain from the. I should have updated that. I think this we can do. How's it going, Bob? Yeah, so this is fine. I know the JWT secret is that. I'm going to change it. It's like my password on the Galog. You're just letting me know. I know, I appreciate it. If you didn't upload, okay. So this is good. I'm starting the process, Bob, sometime this month, importing all of the... I've already screenshotted it. I know. The forward to the chat. I'm starting the process of rewriting all the Galog infrastructure to .NET. Just because I work with .NET all day, every day. It's, you know, just easier to actually keep it going forward. So I'm pretty much like setting up... I'm going to see if I can like AI the shit out of it. Sounds awful, I know, it does, sounds terrible, but you know, we've been upstarting the activity in the Discord, and we're going to try to get back into it again for 4.1.1. So I'm gonna have to begrudgingly jump into the game and you know, try to have some fun with it. So there's a few like things I want to do. You suggest rebuilding it using nest.javascript? You mean next JavaScript? Or nest JavaScript? What? I hate JavaScript, Bob. It's a progressive framework for building efficient, reliable, scalable applications. What's the deal? So we have dependency injection, type safety, scalable, rich ecosystem, microservices. What's the... So it's all TypeScript. We have our controllers, create a module, we have a render, hello world. Okay, so I like this. We have our base controller, we have our services, controller for get. This is very .NET-ish. Like it. What is this? This is actually really cool. Everything's modular. We use it for tracker, so you can make each component modular, see where things go wrong and fix it. Man, I hate JavaScript, man. It drives me crazy. What are you using for your front end stuff? Anything? What's your poison? It's not JavaScript. So listen, TypeScript just compiles. You know, isn't TypeScript just Babel compiled to JavaScript? You know. Why is there a cat? Is that its name? Boy, a lot of people use it. A lot of people are using Angular front end. Front end is Discord. Oh, right, because it's a Discord bot. Gotcha. So there's a... Is it NIST? JavaScript, Discord. Oh, that's actually the Discord channel for it. That's... I was looking for... Oh, Necro... Okay, cool. I want to see what framework you were using for the Discord bot. Okay, so you... Okay, cool. / command registration. Yeah, that's cool. The only thing I don't like about it is its language support. I gotcha. Like, there's not a lot of, like... What about in, like, VS Code? I'm sure someone probably has a, I mean, wouldn't that just be TypeScript then? Oh, so Discord supports multiple languages. Oh, okay, I gotcha. Not the interpreted language support. You mean in a literal sense, language support. Gotcha. I understand. But Tracker does support other languages. Cool. Yeah, I don't know, like you know, that's like the you know, the bane. Like I've not learned TypeScript. I'm sure it's pretty easy compared to just JavaScript. But I just haven't had the time to kind of really like dig into it. But a lot of the front end stuff that we're kind of working with now, a lot of it is TypeScript compiled. So it's something I'm going to eventually need to go in and learn. I don't like working in C# as shit. Listen, C# is amazing. What do you mean? It's better than PHP, okay? It's better than PHP. I don't care about prototyping. Oh, you care about prototype being able to do rapidly do changes. And you can still do rapid changes in C#. What do you mean? I mean, you have to like do a build, but I mean, not for simple shit, yeah. But I mean, you get speed with that, you know? You get the performance of it being a compiled, like, system. But I don't know, man. There's a lot of these new TypeScript compilers are apparently, like, pretty fast, so I don't know. But yeah, all of good old Galway needs to be, needs to be redone. You do have the build for TypeScript, but it's not that bad. That's what I mean. Like, what's the difference between using Babel to compile JavaScript in TypeScript versus just doing .NET build? You can always just run, but I need like in Node. Oh yeah, okay, I got you. You like just run it in Node. So with that now changed. So our remote, this is now going to need to change. Yeah, I can always like run whatever I need in Node without compiling too, because they're all modular. What are you doing with Tracker these days? Anything cool? Did you see there's another person working on a Discord bot? Yeah, they've been in Gallive a while. I'm trying to think of their name. They're working on a very similar. Oh, you're working on tracker kills in game, like on Spectrum type thing. Oh, or just like reading like the like config file or whatever. I don't like the name of this. I want to just redo the origin, but without having to re-push the. So reading in-game log, recording kills, broadcasting to other discords. Cool. Have you been playing SC a lot? Like, is it really getting more stable? Like, is it better? You know, is it a game, Bob? Sometimes it's not selling it for me. Git change. Sorry, so VS Code change remote. So really, we want to use the. Sometimes I play for ops. I booted into the patch today. I bit lead the hangar, and my ship glitched through the floor, so I quit. Not on Docker, man. You're totally out of context of what I was chatting about. I decided to play Whether or Not. Griefernet do operations, and I jump into those. Oh, cool. Repo location for the same repo. They're meticulously planning, and they're always fun. Yeah, so for this new origin. Assuming. Oh yeah, wait. Me before. IP. Putting in spies into org, setting up like a timed, turning up. Setting up time, turning up going in amount of ships, angsting research or miners, you know, whatever it is for that day. try DNS. Alright, this should be fine now. No such remote origin, but there is a remote origin. Wait, that should be the remote origin. Because it was originally called SMB, so yeah, because it's under SMB master. Then we want to remove SMB. Okay. Okay, so that's good. And then we should be good. And then if we fetch origin, oh, right. So the keys are still, the keys need to be updated from when they were on 222 instead of, alright, so let's just make a change. Camera test. So this should trigger commit. So new repo test commit push branch. Okay, so we're on master. Let's go in here, go to the repo, new repo test, and we're good. And all right, so we're good. So the only thing I have to do next is get the Let's Encrypt certificate working for the studio domain, and then which is in the Nginx proxy manager. So we need to set up our repos.studio. Monolithic .ca. We're going to just be public for now. It is fine, and we'll enable that's good. So, Nginx Proxy Manager. So, Forjo should work. What is the SSL for this? Okay, we'll do that later. This is fine for now. So for actions, run on Docker, echo all good. Set up the job. Expression, otherwise. So in builds, so we need to pretty much do a build. What? Okay, so this will redo the server. So I'm wondering if we already have this template. I'll be right back. I'm going to use the washroom. Yeah, so I need a remote. Make a GitHub repo. Auto build. Godot. Yeah, like we want to just use a .NET build. Godot. Push to master with for Java options. Alright, so we want our Godot project. Yeah, so if we have a headless, maybe we need our own. Yeah, instead of W getting this, we could automatically, in this world, uses actions, upload object before, upload the build artifact. So we use a custom build of the editor, which we can place somewhere. I know what its recommendations would be. Yes, we could put this on remote. And we can put this in repos. Alright, so we check the repository, copy the custom. So do you want to latest, check the repository, copy the editor, build the project, into builds. Yeah, so we already had that running. I like this. And we can create these volumes for them. I still think we should have just one volume though for all the editors. You can use a temporary container to copy the binaries. Yeah, exactly. So we'll use Godot editor builds. Yeah, this I like. So build on Windows, build on Linux. Then we'll have Linux. Yeah. And maybe. Can this be, yeah, you know what, let's make this a local node. Sure. So this should have all of them, including the Linux. Yeah, so this build, this in the builds folder. We'll just update this in the future. So let's do. So let's assume this is the folder that we want to mount. And then we'll use within this our release templates for doing the builds automatically, and then we can just change it when we do a new update. That'll make more sense. And I think we can use what we did before instead of using the Ubuntu 22. Because this will probably need the .NET framework as well. So these. Yeah, I'm gonna make a note of that real quick because these are definitely going to. Use mode on the .NET 8. But probably don't, because they're already installed. Yeah, no, I shouldn't. It shouldn't matter. It should be good. Oh man, I love Grok, man. So good. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so how is that, like, how do we, so for some instructions, create the volume, ensure the runner can access it. Make sure we have our templates. Because we're just going to build under release, not under debug. Yeah, it's unlikely that we could actually set up a runtime. Yeah, see, like, once we get our Godot automation also running, then we can just have this push to the same replay. Yeah. Hey, Deflux, Azure Functions! Hey, SettleX! Well, I'm doing boring DevOps stuff, man, and Azure Functions. We do a bunch of that stuff at work. Hey, SettleX, you're in DevOps land. You're not gonna like what I'm doing, but I'm gonna give you the boring, long-ass explanation. I'm gonna turn the music down a little bit. What's the music levels like for you? Is it fine? Yo, DevOps. What's game developer DevOps? You know what I mean? It's a little loud. Good. We're turning it the F down because it's loud. How are we now? We just want it in the background, like we're at a bar. We're just kind of chilling out. Using a new streaming setup this week. I have the laptop set up to be the streaming PC, so I'm wondering if the fans in the laptop are being detected because they're over there behind the thing, the microphone. Yeah, this thing, the thing that's on my desk. Thanks again, dude, for the raid. How's it going, Mars? How are you? Azure Functions, dude. Why are you? What? Are you in Azure land? I think you could even monitor it. Can be a little quieter. We're gonna go a little quieter, man. We're gonna go a little quieter, man. I'm gonna bring that down. Are we so quiet now we can't hear it, or are we like a quest of Azure Functions? I'm gonna talk about Azure, man. Oh my god, dude. I live in it's still pretty audible. Oh, okay. All right. So so we have a studio, right? We're a studio. We're working on things. We have a dedicated server here running at the studio. Right. On this, we have our Portainer with all of our stacks. So we have Nakama, which is game deployment service. We get a C# API. It's wonderful. We have our Nginx proxy manager. Some of these I got to re-import the YAML files. Nice Dockerization, right? We have our custom Docker networks. We have our VM network, right, which is just a little segment of a block on my current existing network because I don't want to create any type of that's kind of a lot of stuff happening. But so let me just explain I feel like this is so easy in Azure Functions land. Anyway, yeah. So we have a jellyfin that's from like my house. We have homepage, but we have Forjo. Have you used Forjo before? Get Deflux or Get T? So the backstory is originally in Revere land. Jellyfin's awesome. It's an awesome C# project. Jellyfin. What do you? No, it's not. What? So originally, we had this folder. So we had projects. I've never used Forjo. Okay, so we had projects. Let me just find where I had this thing. Right. So there should be projects. Games. So this is my Unforgiven Systems project, right? It's here on an SMB, right? Because we're just locally, don't need to push anything. Jellyfin is just like a web streaming service. I could show you some of the crazy stuff I've done with Home Assistant and my automations. Like I have my Unify shit all set up with Home Assistant, and I have Jellyfin, and I can like stream anything to anywhere. I have a full AI integration, but an LLM that I've been playing around with, which you guys saw on one of the other streams. So hang on. So anyway, all we have is a SMB, right? And the SMB runs my Unforgiven Systems. Unforgiven Systems is the game, right, that we have running right here. So I push to Unforgiven Systems, and it pushes to the remote repo, which originally was an SMB repo, right? SMB repo, it was temporarily set to a web address, but you know, this is where it was. So what Forjo is this wonderful, if you go to repos.studio.monolithic.ca here, this is Forjo. And let me just go to the home page so you can kind of see, don't think by default. Oh, it's because I'm logged in, right. So this is Forjo. I can go to my projects. So like here's pull requests, explore, right? So here is now my repo in Forjo. I can now go into it. You can see like, you know, everything's been migrated into Forjo, so we can integrate issues with the API, the Forjo API. This is full self-hosted. It's a fork of Get right? But check it, like it has all the wiki support. It's the actions that we're going to get into. The so it's Git inside Docker. Yeah, pretty much. Like it's a custom network that I'm binding to it. Hello, fellow Forjo user. Yeah. Hey, Linux developer, right? So this is now set up. Originally, this was just set up to kind of pull my SMB repo and be a front end to just that. So, you know, this now works. I can go into the, you know, the settings, all the LFS stuff is working. So, may I share it? I run a public instance. May I share it? Yeah, sure. Share whatever. Like, so this is cool, man. So, you know, we have the privacy of, you know, being able to just kind of go and, you know, have all of our internal studio tools. I can just SSH pull them because now this is actually working. The SHU address needs to be updated, of course. This is your one that you've, let me take a look at this. So this is your own little, oh yeah, this is your own little public instance. Cool. Yeah, I think it's awesome. This is awesome. You know what I mean? Like, so anybody can kind of get this going. Now, I was a game developer, kind of gave me an instruction set of how to go through this whole process, because the workflow that I want here's the workflow that I want that I'll kind of show you like what I have going here, right? So we have here in the Portainer. So let's go back to the in Portainer. Thanks for the follow. So here, I'm listening but at AFK, it's all good. I have the US server. So here's the dedicated Godot remote server, right? I can go and take the live. This is running live. So here's like my prison tick rate, The double follower alert, yeah, it's because I myself am monitoring it. So I have the overlay being, hang on a second. Let me go into the Discord events. Settings. Audio properties. Maybe we won't monitor alerts. Have you set up SJ? Yeah, so I'm going to, in my case, not run it on 222. I'm going to run it on 22 on its own dedicated internal IP address, and then externally I'm going to use Nginx Proxy Manager to redirect that domain's SSH to the new domain's SSH for 22, just with the streams. But I don't know if I'm going to have it all. Like, I don't want it to be accessible, right? Because it's my it's the game studios project. The goal is I give an open VPN profile to a contractor. They connect to the studio network. Let me go back to the scene. And then, yeah, then they have total access to it, right? So literally they just connect to the VPN. They're on the the domain DNS of the actual studio. They can go to repos.monolithic or repos.studio.monolithic.ca. They can access everything. I'm also going to set them up with SMB shares for the Blender assets and the Blender asset library. So they'll kind of see, like, they'll have access to pretty much like a builds folder and a few other things, right? Right. Okay. Yeah. So let me kind of show you the whole process here. So this is kind of what I'm working on now, right? This is what I'm porting. I have a builds folder that I put things in. Here's the server's, build, right? It just goes right here. So this is what I have to do manually right now, right? I go in here, I go to project, we do export, we run the dedicated server. This has all of the stripping, all the features, right? We strip everything out. It's all set up to embed. So we export this to the server build. And we're doing it with debug. So we just go ahead and export, override it. And this creates our dedicated server. But this can happen headless. Like, you can just take the editor and run it headless and run the export template, and it'll have all the settings, right, from the export template that strips out everything we need for the dedicated server. So this is now created inside the builds folder. Right. Now what I now have to do is go in here, and if I run this deploy script, hang on, automatically goes through the process of the Docker file, pulls Ubuntu LTS, right, copies over the Godot headless of the build, and sets up the dependencies. Right, this is all from a cache, right? Puts the server in the Godot headless folder, reruns the image, and then redeploys it. So it really does, now that I've given it a password, it's just this. Done. Right? And it's redeployed that build, right? And then that build is running, let's go back in to Portainer. So if we can see here now, look at US server, we'll go into the console, right? We can see that it just started up, and it's ready to rock, right? So we're running the dedicated server right now. So what we want to do is take this Godot folder here, which has all the templates, and make it a volume, right, that ForgeO can access directly, because it's going to just run this headless anyway. And then for each template, we'll just run, like Linux template mono or the release template mono. So Windows or Linux, these are just going to be the release, so they're more stable anyway. I don't really need to do live debugging on this. So either or, it will create the action. We're going to go back into, our Grok, who's explaining how to do this, because we don't have time, right? So the idea now is we build everything on the push to master, right? So all I should have to do to redeploy the client on Windows, which will go into there'll be another layer where this stuff goes into the API, like the folder for the launcher to auto download. And then the dedicated server, well, we know where that goes. That's going to go in the, like this will become that redeploy Docker container. This will be added to the location for the Delta patcher to download. So like it'll go through these actions, and the hope, if what we're working on with this is we go to our PR, right? Except the pull. Oh, that's the old one from repos. Boom. Yeah. So we would just do the PR, from whatever fork in a master, and then boom, everything just triggers, the builds happen. I just have, we're gonna use, so originally I was looking into Jenkins and setting up Jenkins until someone was telling me about the Forgio runners, of how good they actually are and how they can literally do everything, right? So that's what we're doing here on Grok, is creating the runners so that when we push to master, or we just do a PR in the master, because we should be working out of a branch anyway, for the features of the game that we want, then this whole thing will be automated. I've used Jenkins. I've heard there's a lot of praise to this. So I mean, and I don't need to deal with it. Like if I can just give Forgio, the builds, right? Because the thing is with this builds directory, if I give it the builds directory itself, or you know what I mean? Like I can just have it push to wherever it needs and get from wherever it needs. Like I could pretty much just have this whole thing just, I know there's SMB share, but it can all happen on the server, like true one volume. It's like, I even automated a markdown resume. Oh, cool. Yeah, like this resume? You mean markdown resume? Oh, that's cool. What are you running on your Raspberry Pi? Hang on a second. It's time for the annual reminder. 1 second. Hang on. It's time for the annual reminder to Sedilix of the dust. Oh no, it's too good. No, it's not showing the dust. It's getting rid of my hand. Maybe it needs my face. I want, like, do you look at the dust? Look at the dust. The dust, Sedilix. The dust. Do you see the dust? Hang on, there we go. Now we can see the dust. The camera's trying to hide the truth. I'm only joking. I really haven't used VR, like in the last, I don't even know how long. Oh man. You know what? I haven't actually seen McKJ in a long time. Do we know if he's McKJ's robot character, man, was so funny. He's a lot. We have to do a night of random drinking and nonsense at some point, because that was actually a blast. It was so stupid and funny. And it's a break. It's like, I think we're all like ADHD, and it's very hard to. Is he frozen on stream? I'm not. Am I frozen on stream? Did the stream freeze? Oh yeah, right. And let me. I keep forgetting about my poor YouTube chat. But I don't know if my YouTube chat even works. Nah, you're good. Okay. You're good. Hey, Ben, I can see you moving. Yeah. So this is kind of like, I know this is a boring and it's not like game dev, you know, like it is game dev, but like automating game dev is super important. And for me, it's like I'm at a stage in my game right now where I need to hire an artist, and I found an artist, and they themselves, I need to set up like a LFS repo. Here's my thing, like, because like we have, so let me show you this, right? I have on the server, let me just show you this thing. So this is what I need to solve. These are all like stupid problems, right? So here is Blender. I love that Blender's icon's a cat. In Blender, we have all the assets, right? The assets are here, right? Like we have a whole library of things. And if you know a lot about Blender saves all of these thumbnails internally in the blend files. Like they're already pre-cached. They're not like, they only bake once. So like having this stuff, even on a remote directory, is not really that big of a deal. And I've been rebuilding this library from scratch. So this is now set up, right, to be, we go to our paths here, on the F drive, right? So this is actually remote, right? This is the server assets, and it has all the materials now in it as children, and I can search through everything, and I can reorganize everything. You know, there's a lot of art assets, but they're not all in the library because I'm redoing it, right? So I want an artist to have access to this directly. You know what I mean? Like literally, like I want them to just, you know, open blend file, you know, work on stuff. I've never opened this model in like 5 years, so apparently the shaders are like, I need to warm up or something. So in a second, I'll actually bring this up. Being able to open Blender and have a library target will be huge for an artist or design. So yeah, so like, and I don't know what the speed of people's internet's going to be, but the idea would be to put all of the art assets in a repo, so that in the folder that they're represented on the SMB, things look normal. But under the hood, they're actually in an LFS share, where it's kind of like there's an LFS share that's keeping at least the last asset like known. So there's one that's on the file system, and then there's one that's in LFS. So that way, like the idea is like kind of like let the artists have what they want, but kind of not that we don't trust them, but if they delete everything, like the whole repo of art assets does have a carbon backup to it. So like, you know, like there's at least one version, right? Like one binary version with LFS. Your side has the authority, right? So like they can make changes, and they can kind of because then the medium in which they could pull these is not just over SMB. They can directly add the LFS volume, pull the whole repo down, work on the art that they want, or pull just what they need down from the repo, you know. And I'm not sure like which one's going to be. This is why we're chatting about it. But I want a more streamlined way to be able to commit art assets back to the project, you know, and be able to work on them and like iterate quick and kind of get them into the project, and you know, vice versa. Right, because this is it's just one of those things, right? Like I think having them like request the asset pull down, then he could commit it back, send is the best. Yeah, exactly. And I'm just wondering, like, and this is why I want to kind of, because I don't know. I haven't used like Git on weird sub things and stuff like, so I'm not sure. Like I know you know, or pull one or two things. Like I know we can go in. You know, even in here, right? I can go and pull down like one model. You know what I mean? Like I can pull a GLTF down manually. I'm not sure how we can, you know, kind of, you know, pull down, you know, like one file and still be able to push it, like, or commit to it. They might have to have the full branch locally for that to kind of become easy. But I bet there's a magic spell for it, though. But you know, the artist is going to need access to it anyway, so why not just maybe you know what I mean? They just connect to the VPN, SSH to the asset repo, pull down all the assets anyway, because it's only internal traffic relay, like them getting everything. It's whatever they need anyway, right? And then they work on whatever they want, and when they're finally done, just do a push. So I mean, right? And in that time, right, the current, like, we're always doing backups of the assets anyway, like on a cron job. So it's like not a big deal. But I think, you know, that could be like just using LFS for asset pipeline. Might not be a bad idea, because then if the repo, right, because LFS is kind of weird, right, like using a CSV or version control system for, you know, assets, and it's all LFS, so it's all one copy. It's not really revision control then, but at least we can tie issues to the art assets as if it was a resource, and then we can also pipeline the you know, because it is a thing. I think we could pipeline the a lot of the assets stuff with the assets board. It's in a 3D or something. Oh, here. But anyway, I think this can tie more deeply into the actual asset itself. You know what I mean? Like the reference, you know, of the GLTF or the blend file, right? Because I think then we get into the realm of being able to use the wiki and the issues like here. You know what I mean? And kind of. So I'm not sure, right? Like I'm not like I am the artist of my own project, but I need to find something that I think would work really well as an external contractor. You know, because what are the alternatives? You know what I mean? You work out of a Google Drive, or you work out of a or you work at a Dropbox, but then someone still has to take all the art assets, then bring it into a project. You know, like organize it, set up everything. There's still like art. You know, there's still like tech art kind of required, and like if the tools can be there where there's just two repos, one which is the game and one which is the art assets, and we can push two art assets and be able to access it and just directly drop it into the game, because there's redundancy with the art assets being in both places anyway. Like they're LFS in the main project completed, and they're also LFS in just the in the repo that represents all the, you know, the Blender files and everything like that, right? So I don't know, right? I don't know if anyone more experienced than myself, like, you know, has thoughts, but that's like, I'm just gonna build it, right? You know, you build it and you see what happens. Things either work or they don't, you know, because like Unity uses like plastic SCM, which is pretty much just called like Unity Asset Control now. Oh, it's Unity DevOps now. Not even surprised. Yeah, it's called Unity. Yeah, they just renamed it Unity Version Control. So that's, you know, that seems to be like on the Unity side what they would normally use. Yep. Then you'll be more experienced than you than right now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just learn. Yep. Right, but it's thinking about that stuff. I think it's very important, because, like, you know, like all this shit costs money. You know what I mean? It's either part of your pro license, or, you know, you need to, you know, decouple a lot of this stuff, right? Because even on like Unity Studio, like this stuff still is, you know, even in Unity land, costs money. So plastic, yes, Unity DevOps now. Unity DevOps. Like, can I just create a global bind mount? Or we have to define it on the you want to LTS 1. Let me set up importing. Set up the bind mount. Yes, I know what it always in context. Thanks. Oh wait, it's already done. Already done. Yeah, so the driver will be local, driver options. Okay, let's get that working. How's it going, Red Tango? And then we'll set this up. And you gotta forgive all the all the grokking. It's faster to grok than it is to Google. So let's create our volume. The reality is the semantic searching style of AI is super useful in boiling down what you're searching without having to determine. Yeah, that's true. I absolutely agree. Like this is just, you know, so much better. So bind source to Godot, and then destination will be Godot builds. Because the path we'll use Godot to work. I've been like really enjoying Complexity. It's totally fallen apart yet. It hasn't really totally fallen apart yet, and does a good job finding decent sources. Dude, this stuff is awesome. Like it's a whole new generation of like shit that we can do. So, you know, Godot, and this is going to be it'll always be in our Godot builds folder. I just need to get this out of the way. It's driving me crazy. Yeah, Godot builds is fine. Mount MD1 files builds Godot. It's owned by me. Yeah, that should be fine. Invalid option. Name, no point, yeah. So check the type to bind. Oh wait, what did I set it to? Type is to bind. Driver local, driver options. Driver options, name, value. Oh, I'm an idiot. There is no source and destination for driver options. There's just name value. So maybe the name is source. Yeah, maybe it's just this. Example, no, yeah, say source. That, destination. Invalid option source. Alternatively, you just create with the CLI. Then test the bind. How does it know what to bind though? You just create it with the CLI. Really good here besides being too lazy to code. That's not good. I don't see it. It just says name value. The volumes show. Just name and the value for the options. That's what I thought, yeah. Type bind. Oh, we actually, right. We actually had to put type bind. Does that be first or something? Godot editor builds, local. After set ownership for your container, leave as default. That's what I want. Just and then we should see this. The short forward your access looks good. I'm not spelling anything wrong, right? Invalid option source. Well, yeah, invalid option source. Keep helping from this project and one-on-one teaching, burnt out working on my own. Oh. Options for the local driver expects key value pairs configured like a bind node. However, local oh, wow. Type name. Oh, that has to be the first pair. What? Type bind device. What? Typo bind. What is the O for? What? The station... Oh, because it indicates a bind mode. It's option bind. Okay, okay. I see what it's doing under the hood. It's a UI. It's dumb. It doesn't understand. It's just creating these key value pairs for the command that it's running under the hood. That makes sense. Okay, so then this map point for the Godot builds. It's global. So this will always be Godot editor builds. It'll always be this data to here. Okay. So if we add, go to containers, add a container, type, yeah. So let's do a test. Can I like separate this back? Oh, okay, I can. So we're gonna grab a new container. Called just test volume. Image, map. So Ubuntu 22, pull this image, go to volumes, map of volume. Map Godot builds, selecting the drop down. What browser are you using for Grok? It looks nice. Zen browser. So Zen browser is a it's kind of weird right now because I'm running this window. Like you're seeing a window and I'm in ultra wide. Zen, you just come up here and you get your close button. You come over here and you get your tabs, right? And it's just Control T to bring anything up and navigate. So you just remember use Control T for everything. You can switch tabs, jump around to, you know, to my whatever's already open here. Go back to Grok. It's very, very nice. And so I have it set to auto hide. It's meant to be like fully distracted, right? It's just Firefox. It's just Firefox, you know. And what I like about it is even though like there are security issues, I'm still using my Firefox account. It's still fully synced, right? I still have all my add-ons, right? It's just Firefox cleaned up. And I've switched everything to Zen, even on Linux. Even like I know you guys see my Voodoo, my port forwarding insane Voodoo, where I pipe my dedicated server, you know, so I can actually pipe my dedicated server over Wayland directly into my Windows environment here, you know. I'm trying to get it over, but I can't like select it and move it. Maybe I need to move it. Oh. Because I'm using oh, there we go. No. It's not windowed. Hang on. Yeah, wait, Windows Shift. because I'm using what do you call it? The what is that program? Windows Control Alt Shift tab. Oh, well, fine, whatever. Let me just switch to this other screen. So here is my Linux environment, and this is running Wayland piped to WSL, and I have like NVIDIA options. Like this is actually running, you know, my dedicated 3060. It all works. Like this is literally the server that you're looking at right now, you know, with all my stuff. But I have Zen set up here too, and I have all my Godot builds. Right, so I have Zen running with, you know, all the things that I would need on Linux, and then I have all my Godot stuff here, like, you know, like the game, the builds, the apps, and it runs great. Right, like I can actually just go in and test a project, and full 3D support, running. Like this is all still running on the server, but I'm just, you know, I'm just piping Wayland itself over to my Windows PC. So if we look at information here, right, that's like 1300 FPS, right? So I want to do all of my when I want to actually just do Linux builds, I just pop Linux up. But we can also do the other one too. Like I can do, check this out. Let's do my other computer that I have running. So let's do another Debian. And let's pipe my streaming PC, which is running downstairs. And now let's go back to the widescreen here real quick. So up here, I have a whole other one running, right? So this is my other dev box, which is running all my AI stuff. And, you know, this is just remote desktop on steroids, because I'm just piping Wayland. So it's great. Like you don't need to have them here. You do need to use a Windows manager that's very Wayland friendly. But this one here has my 3070 in it, or my other 3060 Ti. So those are my two other Linux PCs. And I literally can just use them with, you know, with just piping them, you know, just here with WayPipe on my WSL instance, and it's good. It's like this is really good game dev stuff, because you need to build a kind of, you know, if you can't use your desktop environments on any computers, you know, kind of, and we can just kill these two pipes. Or technically I should have gracefully signed out, but you know. There we go. It's wild. Yeah, it's awesome, man, where we are right now. I remember not too long ago, like, you know. Yeah, I know, right? Like, and now we have like now we have Parsec, and Parsec's amazing, and just I don't know. Like I love that I can stick stuff in the basement, you know what I mean? Especially, hey, a little bit, I felt like GDScript was holding me back, so I quit Godot, learned C++, and I'm learning to build a game without an editor. Best decision ever. Nice. How's it going, ALX? Yeah, let's, so yeah, pipelining. I think I think it's a good exercise, especially depends on what your goals are. Like you'll learn more C++ trying to build an engine than anything. You know what I mean? Like it'll be the most interesting, you know, thing to keep your attention. But yeah, so we need to figure this stuff out. But my goal is to get back into art and just doing nothing but art, and you know, very shortly. But I want to squirrel. So the other thing, Sedlix, like the secondary big thing on the studio pipeline, which I don't know if you've seen actually, is my editor tool. So this is called Space Edit. This is the new new thing. I love that there's so much dev work, it's crazy going on, and then you're just saying, I want to go back to art. Well, so this is why Space Edit exists. Let me show you Space Edit. Space Edit is a tool that I started working on in Godot. It's going to kind of change. I guess we'll go widescreen for this. Okay, yeah. Watch this. It doesn't have a lot since maybe the last time you've seen it. So I want to build a system for Godot that enables me to stream in assets as PCK files. So this is Space Edit, right? We can move around in 3D, we can place objects. It's a level editor, pretty straightforward, but it's not just a level editor. We're going to go online and we're going to host a session. Okay, now I'm hosting a session. We're going to go online here and I'm going to connect. So there is Revere, and he is just a camera floating in space. Right, you can see here's Revere. Revere is doing his thing. Moving back for it. Let's go see what my forward is. But watch. So now if Revere starts building with Space Edit, you can kind of see where I'm going with this. Why pay one level designer when you can just let the players do some of the level designing, you know what I mean? Including the deleting. And so it moves up and down in a full voxel grid. And the idea is all the art assets that you see here can be streamed in, right? Including lights and stuff like that, right? So I can just like paint lights wherever and then click them and set properties of those lights. So like think about this, like right now I've made a system that automatically generates all of these thumbnails. There's a whole like there's a whole, it's very basic, there's only a few tools, but they do download, they do bring down assets and then go ahead and like create all the thumbnails dynamically. And the reason why all of this is completely dynamic is I want to like have a login system, like I've done. We've already seen that I made a launcher. And what does a launcher do? It logs into an API, and depending on your access levels, pulls down the build. Well, that got me thinking. If we can just download PCK files, well, building objects can just be their own PCK files. Right, tied to the asset. It could just be the ID of the asset.pck, and as long as these are on a secure endpoint, which I've already developed, I could stream all of the assets to an artist in an editor that has multiplayer support. So what does that mean? That means I could give a build that doesn't need, to be it's just like a build that dynamically is capable of updating itself and also pulling down asset libraries. Right. So all an artist has to do is commit an asset to a repo. They commit the asset to the repo. The CI/CD runs, updates the build edit and all of the APIs. You see where I'm going? And because it's all live, while you're logged in, it could check the API every 5 minutes for new assets. And literally, a new preview will appear. You know what I mean? There's a new asset. And it can download that asset live, and you can place it. So literally, you know what I mean? But they would just be like a placeholder if another client doesn't have it. Because any asset IDs that don't have an asset, they just become like a replace me ball or something. But if they reloaded or they pulled down those assets, it would just kind of fix itself. You know what I mean? So just think of the potential of that for scaling out the universe, right? For being able to just build and and having just being able to just putting down stuff, right? Because I'm not obviously going to have it all be these little individual assets. Like, you know, obviously the massive wall prefabs, they're just normal prefabs, right, that you would normally have in a game. Like, this is a very rudimentary example, but it proves the point, you know, of you know, because this is kind of the things I need to think about when it's like, how do we scale this thing very, very, very quickly to be able to you know, bring these stations online fast. So anyway, this is Space Edit. This is how you build an MMO. Yeah, exactly, right? So this is Space Edit. This is what's going to be a foundational tool with multiplayer. And what's cool is this will be in the build. So like for administration, you could just go into Space Edit and use it as an inspector. So just click on things and see what they are. What's the data? Change things, debug things. You know what I mean? This is how you build an MMO worth of assets and scenes. And I have a cool system, right, where we create volumes, and the volumes become instances. So you create a volume by just literally going to this areas, and you drag an area and you go up with it, right? And then anything you place inside that area is saved in that area. So you can put, and even the walls and everything would kind of auto build themselves facing, you know, away from that area's edge. So you just create a square area, like an area 3D. You build everything inside it, and then that area itself would save all of those things that's inside itself as like a JSON object, right? Like it has everything, and then that area itself becomes an asset that you can drag out, and then you get a non-editable version of itself, right? That you can just place. It becomes the basis of what is its own scene. But because the original one is still in the scene, you can go back and change that one, which changes the data because it's only a voxel volume of IDs. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Because other people don't have access to what is the concept of a scene. You know what I mean? But when they load in, and it loads in these areas and it loads in this stuff, right? It just copies anything in that area to where the other area references are. So it just kind of builds itself up. And then ultimately there's a baking aspect, because only the host, whoever is hosting it, you know, just needs to be able to save the level out, right? It's not like this crazy complicated system. All the clients are doing is RPCing to the host to go and place shit. And then finally you have a host that can just save out the level resource. And then you just have a standard baking system that bakes all of this out, you know, without the actual space objects. So think of the space object as a container system, right? So let's say, as an example, I have a light, right? Here's an area light space object, right? Space object, but it's an area light. But in the final scene, it would drop, you know, the actual child, which is a real light. So the child can have its own scripts. It could be anything. It's any other game object you place inside this container, right? And you're just creating a space object which has a unique identifier on it. And this is what gets instantiated. This is what has a, you know, like multiplayer data. But ultimately, you know, when you bake it, it just takes the light out of itself and puts it where it is, right? So it's simple, right? It becomes a very scalable system. And you'll always have that JSON data that represents the space object, so it can always rebuild itself from that data. But once it bakes into a scene, the scene is like, you know, like kind of created. It is just, there's none of that multiplayer. It's just the actual prefabs, the thing that's inside itself. And the same, so like the wall itself, you know what I mean, is just a space object, but it has a mesh inside it, which is the thing. And this would be a model. You would just drag in the real thing inside here, you know, and it'll drop it. It strips everything, like the selector, because that's like a helper tool. that applies the selection material dynamically. If any meshes inside this thing, it selects it with this overlay material. So it kills the selector, it kills the synchronizer, you know, it just drops everything else into the scene during the baking process. So, you know, so I think it's going to work really well. And but so I'm going to be working on this for another 2 weeks, you know, before. So because all of this work is because I want to hire an artist, and I just don't want to waste their time, you know. I don't want to waste whoever, you know, because, you know, it's money, but it's also like it gives them a bit more freedom, you know what I mean, to just play with stuff. And I think that's important. And, you know, I need to be ready for, like, you know, when I get someone on board, that they're not limited. You know, I don't want them to be limited by whatever they're capable of doing. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna 12:30 now, so I'm probably gonna leave it there. But that's that's like the update of things, you know, of what I'm doing. So hopefully, you know, you find it cool. Thank you guys again for the raid. I'm going to end it here on YouTube. I'm going to find someone to raid, and we'll be back tomorrow.